Hello Candles, welcome to Candela Learnings. I'm your very own social science super tutor, Sudharma. I hope all are doing well. So Candles, do you remember what was discussed in the last class? Yes, we nearly began to tell a story related to emergence of nationalism in Europe. And we have also discussed how did French Revolution give rise to emergence of nationalism and the role played by Napoleon in France after French Revolution. Today, we will be moving to the next part of the story and let's get started. So, Candles, do you remember the name of the chapter or the name of the story? The name of the story was Rise of Nationalism in Europe. Candles, if you look at the map of 18th century Europe, you will find there were no nation states during the 18th century. What we know as Germany, Italy, Hungary were divided into different political units such as monarchies, kingdom and duchies. And the eastern and central part of Europe were ruled by the autocratic monarchies. By the way of illustration, I will explain it. Let's take Habsburg Empire as an example. See, it was also known as Danubian Empire and it was a collection of different political units. It ruled over Hungary and Italy and it was considered as a complete patchwork of different regions. It included alpine regions such as Tyrol, Sudetenland and Hungary. People belonged to these territories shares different culture, they spoke different languages and they belonged to different ethnic group. So Candles, now I will assign you an assignment. The assignment is name the countries that now host the above regions and here is the assignment. Your task is just to identify the answers for the upcoming class. Okay. Now we are moving into the next part of the society. People are considered to have a significant role in every society. Am I right? Yes. So who were the major groups of people in Europe? Let's have a look into it. Socially and politically landed aristocracy were considered as the major, especially the dominant class of Europe. They owned estates in the countrysides and townhouses. They spoke French and very high in the society. But they were small in group. Then what about the majority of the population? Here comes the peasants. See, the majority of the population was made up of peasants and the central western part of Europe and the land was farmed by this category of peasants. Now, coming into the next class. The name of the next class is commercial group. See, the industrial production, the growth of trade that led to the growth of a new class named as commercial class. Their existence was completely based on the market, based on the production for the market. Now coming into the another class that was the industrial class. Okay, the industrial class which was made up of working class population and middle class. So Candles, let us study a new philosophy. The name of the philosophy is Liberalism. The idea of French Revolution had close connection with liberalism. It is a Latin word and the meaning of the Latin word is free, but it had various aspects. For example, for the middle class, it stood for the freedom of individual and equality before law. But about the political sense, in political sense, it emphasized on the government by consent. But in economic sphere, it had another meaning. It stood for freedom of the market and abolition of the restrictions made by the states on the movement of the goods. So these are the main concepts related to the philosophy of liberalism. So Candles, let me ask you a question. What happened to the political system of Europe following the French Revolution? And here comes the answer. Almost after 1815, the fall of Napoleon, the European government were driven by a spirit of conservatism. Here comes a new political philosophy, that is conservatism. Conservatism give more importance to the traditional institutions, and they highly believe that these traditional institutions could make the state power more effective and strong. Finally, the European powers such as Austria, Russia, Prussia, and Britain met at Vienna in 1815, and they drawn up a treaty. The name of the treaty was Treaty of Vienna. Actually, the Congress was hosted by an Austrian Chancellor, Duke Metternich. So, what were the provisions of the treaty? Here comes the points. First one, the Bourbon dynasty was restored to power, which was abolished by Napoleon after the French Revolution. Second one, a series of states were set up on the boundaries of Europe for preventing French expansion in Europe. See, in the northern part, Netherlands was set up. In the southern part, Genoa was set up. In western part, Prussia was set up, which means their aim was to restore the monarchies that had been overthrown by Napoleon. So, Candace, I hope everything we covered today was clear, and we will discuss the next chapter of the story in the next class. Until then, bye bye.